This is a video of the feral child Genie. There have been a number of cases of feral children raised in social isolation with little or no human contact. Few have captured public and scientific attention like that of a young girl called Genie. Almost her entire childhood was spent locked in a bedroom where she had grown up isolated and abused for over a decade. Genie's case was one of the first to put critical period theory to the test. Could a child reared in utter deprivation and isolation develop language? Could a nurturing environment make up for a horrifying past? Genie's story came to light on November 4th, 1970, in Los Angeles, California. A social worker discovered that the 13-year-old girl, after her mother sought out services, the social worker soon discovered that the girl had been confined to a small room, and an investigation by authorities quickly revealed that the child had spent most of her life in this room, often tied to a potty chair. She was given the name Genie to protect her identity. Genie was not her real name. The girl was given the name Genie in her case files to protect her identity and privacy. The case name is Genie. This is not the real person's name. But when we think about what a genie is a creature that comes out of a bottle or whatever, but emerges into human society past childhood. Genie's life prior to her discovery was one of utter deprivation. She spent most of her days tied naked to her potty chair, only able to move her hands and feet. When she made noise, her father would beat her. Her father, mother, and older brother rarely spoke to her.
Graduate student Susan Curtis and psychologist James Kent were her rehabilitation team. Her silence and ability to use language made it difficult to assess her mental abilities, but on tests she scored at about the level of a 1-year-old.
She soon began progressing rapidly, quickly learning how to use the toilet and dressing herself. Over the next few months, she began to experience more developmental progress, but remained poor in areas such as language.
Nativist Noam Chomsky proposed that children are born with a language acquisition device, an innate ability to understand the principles of language. Once exposed to language, the LAD allows children to learn the language at a remarkable pace.
Linguist Eric Lindbergh suggests that, like many other human behaviors, the ability to acquire language is subject to what are known as critical periods. A critical period is a limited span of time during which an organism is sensitive to external stimuli and capable of acquiring certain skills. According to Lindbergh, the critical period for language acquisition lasts until around age 12. After the onset of puberty, he argued the organization of the brain becomes set and no longer able to learn and utilize language in a fully functional manner.
Genie quickly began adding new words to her vocabulary. After a year of treatment, she even started putting 3 words together. Genie appeared unable to apply grammatical rules and use language in a meaningful way. Her progress eventually leveled off and her acquisition of new language halted.
Genie occasionally spent the night at the home of Gene Butler, one of her teachers. After Genie becomes quarantined to Butler's house, Butler becomes overprotective and starts restricting access to Genie. Eventually, Genie was removed from Butler's care.
After being removed from the butler's care, Genie went to live in the home of psychologist David Rigler, where she remained for the next 4 years. Despite some difficulties, she appeared to do well in the Rigler household. She enjoyed listening to classical music on the piano and loved to draw, often finding it easier to communicate through drawing than through other methods.
After NIMH withdrew funding, Genie went to live with her birth mother. It was too hard for Genie's mother to care for her, so she was placed in foster care, where she was often abused again.
With this abuse, Genie lost most of her progress she had made. Genie became afraid to open her mouth and became silent again.
Genie now lives in an adult foster care somewhere in Southern California. Not much is known about Genie today other than from an anonymous person that says she is happy, which is not what psychiatrist Jay Shirley had to say. He characterized her as silent, depressed, and chronically institutionalized.